So here I am playing Betrayal, a game which I like for a number of reasons. It's atmospheric, mysterious, unique, frequently intriguing, and check out these sweet tree swaying effects. I'm enjoying wandering through the woods, keeping an eye out for possessed conquistadors ready to growl at me and do any number of other things that probably aren't very nice. Then it occurs to me that there's a mechanic that I recall being mentioned in the introductory segment of the game that I've not made use of yet, despite having been playing for several hours. They call it listening. I press the listen button, and I'm greeted with a glorified objective arrow. It points me wherever I need to go to find the next clue in my investigation. Now, just imagine for a moment if in the next Jerry Bruckheimer show the detectives had a device where they could just press a button and it told them where to go to solve the case. I could be way off base here, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume that probably wouldn't be a very interesting show. That's because the investigation is the show. Why shouldn't exploration be the game? Suddenly, two of those positive qualities I mentioned earlier, specifically the mystery and intrigue, they've pretty much just been destroyed thanks to what the developers would no doubt call a convenience, but I'd call a contrivance. Those tree swaying effects are still totally sweet though. But I have to ask, where's the wonder? Where's the sense of mystery and exploration? Thanks to mechanics like this, I now have little reason to explore off the beaten path. I no longer feel like I'm in a big scary world that I have to find my way through. Instead, I just follow a guide marker from one place to the next. Hell, if this is how this is going to go, why not just put me in one long hallway? I'll make it to wherever you're trying to push me to quicker that way. This mechanic genuinely had a negative impact on my enjoyment of the game. Sure, I could just choose to never use it, but hey, you can't be a virgin twice. So this got me thinking, why is this here? Why is it necessary for the game to hold my hand and direct me where to go? Stripping away that personal sense of discovery and accomplishment. Stripping away the need for intuition. Stripping away the mystery. Stripping away the wonder. I can't help but feel that this design mindset is just appealing to the lowest common denominator, and that it frankly illustrates a lack of confidence in developers for the competence and intelligence of players. Granted, that's probably understandable in some cases, but there was a time where you either had to figure it out or just get out. Let's look at Betrayal at Krondor. Your initial objective when you start off on your quest is to reach the eponymous Krondor. Now, you do have a land map, and you can see the general direction of where you should be headed, but that's it. And before you say that's the same thing, and this is just a matter of semantics, I'm just going to go ahead and stop you right there, because it's not the same thing. What if instead of having a vague idea of where Mordor was, Frodo had a GPS pointing the way? Yeah, not the same thing. As a little aside here, does anybody remember making their own maps for a game? I do. I remember making my own maps for Times of Lore and Bard's Tale. I remember having a book's worth of notes for Riven. Does it bother anyone that games have become so streamlined and so insultingly hand-holdy that we no longer have any reason to do this sort of thing? It bothers me. I'm sure the intention is to keep the player from being overly frustrated, which I suppose I can understand, but I think developers should have just a little more faith in us. Some of us don't want to be coddled and protected. We want to experience the world for ourselves and learn from our mistakes. Anyone who claims otherwise should take a good look at the massive success of Dark Souls. It doesn't hold your hand, it doesn't tell you where you should and shouldn't go. You have to figure that out for yourself. And if you find your way into a situation that you can't handle, well, guess what? You'll know better next time. Finding and fumbling your way through the world and learning to deal with the unexpected is one of Dark Souls' greatest strengths. That sense of exploration of the unknown, a highly dangerous unknown in fact, is a fundamental part of the experience. Can you imagine those games with a great big objective arrow and detailed quest log where everything is spelled out for you? I shudder at the thought, personally. Now I want to address a couple of things that some of you might point out in defense of these convenience mechanics. If an objective marker points one direction, it doesn't mean I have to go that direction. I can go the other way to make sure I see and find everything. You're correct, and that's precisely what I do when these mechanics are implemented, but that's missing my point. If you know where you should go, and by subsequent process of elimination where you shouldn't go, you've effectively been given guide markers for both directions, with absolutely no effort having been made on your part to gain this knowledge through experience? How about you just let me figure these things out on my own instead of breaking my immersion with this condescending hand-holding? Without a guide, I'd never find anything. It's true, it could take you longer, but you wouldn't be missing the forest for the trees in the process. Too often these mechanics are entirely counterproductive to witnessing, experiencing, and immersing yourself in the world that the developers have spent so much time and effort creating. And when you do finally find the treasure, when you do finally slay the monster, when you do finally discover the truth, it'll be that much more satisfying, because it'll be by your hands alone. So what's the answer? Have faith in us. Most of us are more intelligent than we're getting credit for. Don't cater to the lowest common denominator. Give us a world to discover and stumble through on our own feet. Fill it with wonder and mystery and the dangerous unknown. Well, thank you for it.